So when I was young, growing up in Uruguay, the economy there is not. It's challenging. It's very very hard to for a family to do well and to be able to survive and thrive and have all the things that we want to have, right? That parents want for their kids and stuff like that. So it was very challenging, and my parents did an amazing job. Um, my mother had a hairdressing salon, I don't know what they're called, and in English, and my father worked in a restaurant, and eventually they bought the restaurant. So my parents owned the restaurant in our town, and it was, for a while, it was like the most popular place there, right? And they wanted to send us to a private school because they wanted the best for us. They wanted us to have what they didn't have as kids, and advantages as we grew up, right? A good education. To I think every parent wants their kids to maybe do better than them, right? Just to have more, to have the opportunities that they didn't have. So they did so much to send us to a private school, and it was one of the best schools in our town, in our city, and which I love. I really really appreciate that from my parents. I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. The one thing that happened though was that the restaurant took out. It was very 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 insanely demanding for them, insanely demanding, and they had to work very very long hours because it was a restaurant. So they, even from breakfast, they had breakfast stuff, lunch, dinner, but it was also kind of like a bar and a pub. That's what they're called there. So it was non-stop. And the thing in Uruguay is that when you go out at night, things don't close at 1 p.m. They close at 1 a.m. They close at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It was insane long hours, and of course they had people to help, but it's not easy to hire a lot of people there, so they had to work very long hours. And my dad had to sacrifice his health, his life, kind of, for my family to have more, to have what he didn't have as a kid. And what that caused was that he was not as present as a kid would have liked to have his father around, right? He worked until very late at night. Sometimes he worked early in the morning too, so then he came home and took a nap. So it was very common for us to have to be very very silent during the day because he had to take a quick nap so that he could go back to work. And a lot of time he wasn't around. And now I get it at a different level and I understand it. So I've talked to him about it. It's not like I'm talking shit about my dad in a video, right? I know why he was doing it, and I can't even imagine the responsibility of having a child in a situation where the economy is not great, your financial situation is not great. So they were doing an amazing job, and they were really really trying and doing their best. But to me as a kid, if you think about it from the point of view of a kid, it's like I'm growing up, I'm trying to figure out who I am, what I'm doing here, like what the hell this thing called life is like. And I don't have my dad around too much. And that leaves wounds. That leaves wounds in that, what people call like the wounded inner child, right? There's many things that, and I'll be sharing more about my wounds and how I've healed them or how I continue to heal them. But just imagine me growing up and when I was working with my coach and we talked about this, I never realized how I loved the restaurant. I loved the restaurant because we went there, and it was a place where my sister and my parents, we were all there, and my sister and I would help out with washing some dishes, like cups and things, with the little machine they had. And I loved it. You put the soap and the water and you wash that, and we were all there. And sometimes my mother would take us there because she wanted us to be more with our dad too. So we would stay until late, which I know some people want to say, oh, that's not the best for a kid, right? But it was in an environment where people were just like getting drunk and doing crazy shit. Like, it was a nice place. Like, they knew a lot of the people that went there, like, because it was a kind of like a small town. So it was beautiful to see like my parents interacting with other people, and just to be there, right? And my sister and I loved it, and we knew like all the employees were friends with us, and I loved it. It was beautiful, beautiful. And sometimes my mother would put like benches on the side so we would sleep on the side while they were working, until she was ready to, okay, let's go home now. And then we went back home, and the three of us, my mother, my sister and I, and we would kick like the stones on the streets, right? And we would pretend like we were playing soccer. So from the restaurant to my house, which was probably about a kilometer, right? We would walk at night, and it was safe, and we would walk just like kicking the rocks. And I have beautiful memories from that, beautiful memories. So in a way, I love that restaurant. I love that restaurant. But I realized we were doing a session with my coach, and it was a very comprehensive, like with movement and drawing and the chakras, and very, very interesting. And one thing that I realized is that a part of me hates that place. A part of me really hates that restaurant because it was what took my father away from me. It took my dad away from me. And there's a deep wound there that caused. So now I've been able to kind of heal my relationship with, obviously, my father, but also that restaurant, right? That thing that you took my dad away from me. You caused me a lot of pain. And you left a mark inside of me. You left a mark in my heart of a kid who needed his father, but he was busy trying to make a living. And I just saw that quote, don't get so busy trying to make a living that you forget to make a life. And one thing that I wanted to share, one of the points that I wanted to make with the video, is that the wounds are going to be there. We all have wounds in one area or another, and a lot of us have wounds pertaining to our parents and how they bring us up. And one thing that I want to say to parents is, like, I know you're going through a lot because you have your own things that you're dealing with, your own wounds from childhood, right? Your own things that happen with your parents, with your family, with your friends, with your whatever, your own experiences that you're dealing with, and maybe you haven't healed. So you're going through that, and you're trying to raise a child or two or three, and work, and pay the mortgage, and do all these crazy things that I don't even know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. So thank you for all you do. And I know you're trying, and I know it's insanely crazy, and I know a lot of people just need a day to just hide in a bedroom and cry all freaking day because it's not easy to deal with. I know, I feel you, I see you. So don't feel bad. The past already happened. You can't go back and fix the past. You can maybe change your perspective around it, but you can sit down with your child and you can even say, I'm sorry. I know that you want to spend time with me. I know that you wanted to go to the park and play soccer and play basketball, play football, play something with me, but I was too busy trying to improve our situation. I love when we have deep, meaningful, raw, real conversations with my family about things that have happened, right? We all make mistakes. I don't want to continue to have that resentment with my dad inside of me for things that happened in the past, right? He was dealing with his own stuff too. right? He didn't get attention from his father, and his father died when he was relatively young. So it's a challenge, right? It's a challenge. I'm still going through it, and of course I get triggered. Of course things happen that I'm like, that inner wounded inner child comes out, and he's like, why doesn't he want to spend more time with me? But they still have a lot going on, and I get it, right? And of course, a part of me wants to be the center of the world, right? And whenever I just say, let's do this right now, spend time with me, right? I know people are not gonna just completely rearrange their lives to spend time with me so that I can heal, so that they can help me heal that which hasn't been healed. Maybe I can do that work on my own, and I can show myself that time and attention and self-love, right? The love that I wanted to get from other people, that I can't go back and force them to do it, but I can do it to myself, with myself, for myself, so that the relationship with him improves as a side effect, a byproduct of my own self-love. And I think that's beautiful. Because I was talking to someone, right? I was helping someone move. A very, very interesting, fascinating, beautiful human being, right? And this guy, the thing came up, he does a lot with his kids, and I think it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I got kind of emotional, and I started talking about, I wish I could have done more with my dad. And he was like, oh, you didn't have the time? And I was like, yeah, he had to work a lot, and a lot going on at the time. And he said something that will always stay with me, because he got emotional too. Like you could see it in his eyes. You could really see it in his eyes that what I said kind of touched a part in him, and what came out of his mouth was beautiful. He said, well, Gonzalo, there's still time. And I was like, wow, like, it's an obvious thing, right? It's obvious, and we know that, and I know that, but the way he said it, at the moment he said it, and where I was at that time, the place where I was, and I was maybe ready to hear that, I needed to hear that. And I get emotional as I got back into my car and I left. I was very emotional, because I was like, there is time, right? I'm obsessed about building my business, right? And getting in better shape and changing the world, because I want to help everyone. And I'm not paying attention to that wounded inner child that wants more time with dad, right? He wants to spend time with dad. He wants to do little projects around the house. He wants to help him with things that he loves to do. He wants to do activities that we both enjoy and we both love. He wants to build more memories, right? I don't want to continue to collect things. I want to collect memories with people who I love and really care about. I want him to be around to meet his grandkids, and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So there's still time to heal your wounds. There's still time to look into the places that I know are maybe challenging to look into, but with the help of a coach, with the help of a friend or someone you love and care about, we need to start talking about these things. We need to start healing these things for you, for the other person, for your family, for your community, for the freaking world. Right? I don't think we need more motivational speakers, because I'm good at motivating people, but what if that wound is still there and you're not paying attention to that, right? Today you're gonna get all excited and yes, I'm gonna do this, but what happens when that wounded inner child is trying to give you a message of, hey, I'm here, pay attention, it still hurts, I still need some time and attention and love and care. I think when we start to heal that, when we start to look into those places and heal that and love ourselves more, many areas of life start to change and improve. So there's a lot of noise going on, so I might stop the video here. There's a lot more that I want to share on topics that are very meaningful to me and that I think can help a lot of people. So there's still time. There's still time. So what did I do today? I invited my parents out for breakfast. I'm gonna hang out with them. I'm gonna help out with some little projects they have fun, listen to some music, dance around, fool around, laugh together like crazy, so that we can, in a way, make up, I guess, for the time that young Gonzalo, that 5-year-old, 7-year-old Gonzalo feels like he didn't get, because my parents needed to go into that warrior phase of life that we all need to go into at some point to make it, to get out of the situation that we're trying to get out of, to survive, to thrive, to give our families what we want to give, right? So that's very beautiful, and that's a beautiful thing about parents, which I admire and love, and it inspires me. It inspires me. Sometimes I'm going through a challenge and I think, I'm bitching about this little thing, and my parents, look at all the things I've gone through and all the things they've done for me. Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So there's time. If there's a wound that you want to heal with your sibling, invite him or her to do your favorite activity, their favorite activity. Just go out for something, coffee, a little dessert, a snack, or a meal, or whatever. And open up, speak from the heart, let them know how you feel, let them know how much you care about them and love them. But if we start talking about those wounds, right, we can't run away from that. We can't run away from that. A person who I really appreciate told me he's going through some challenges, right? He's doing something that he really loves to do, but he's like, it's still challenging. He told me, wherever you go, you're still there, right? Wherever you go, you're still there. You can travel the whole world. You can distract yourself with a lot of things, but what happens when you get under the covers at night and you're by yourself on your own? And you need to face those things you've been avoiding all day by doing all kinds of crazy things, right? They're all fine, they're perfect, they're beautiful. But if your relationship with yourself needs a little tweaking and a little more care and attention and self-love, you can't run away from that. And that's a beautiful thing, right? I don't mean that in a bad way. That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to love myself more, love those around me. Enjoy life, enjoy this beautiful journey. And if I can help someone else along the journey, then why not? Right? There's still time. Call your parents, call someone, let them know how much they mean to you. There's still time. We're on this journey together. Love you.